Hi everyone, how are you? In today's video, we're going to talk a little more about etiquette and romantic dates. Hi, how are you? Welcome to the Etiquette and Protocol channel. I'm Juliana Santiago, and in today's video, we're going to talk a little more about etiquette and dates. Whether you're looking for a new love, going out with someone for the first time, or even if you're already in a relationship, no matter how long it's been, right? It could be a new relationship, a relationship that's already a bit more mature, like mine, which has been almost 12 years of marriage. It's essential for us to understand some etiquette in dating processes, right? How to behave better in this kind of situation, how to handle it better, how to have more empathy, and also how to deal with the whole process. So, to make this video easier, I basically divided it into 4 stages of the date: before, during, and after, and then I'll give you some extra tips. Before the date starts, it's essential for us to already think about some aspects. And an invitation, it needs to exist, right? There's no way you can go out with someone if you don't make that invitation. That invitation necessarily needs to have a time, right? Set a specific time and also a place. Those invitations, like just saying it, let's go out sometime. Wow, I really want to go out with you, right? Many times people in the moment of flirting have a habit of saying that. But if you really want to meet someone, you need to be precise with your words. That precision, that confidence will actually make things much better. Building your personal image for the person you want to impress, whether it's someone you already know or even someone you're just starting to get involved with, in this case, romantically. Once the invitation is made, we need to think about a few things, and the first is punctuality, so be on time. If you agree to pick the person up at home or agree to meet them at a certain time, arrive on time. If possible, get there about 10 minutes early. If you were the one who invited that person to be there, sometimes you couldn't pick them up at home, but arriving early at the place will make all the difference, so the person already feels welcomed by you. Sometimes you couldn't pick her up at home, that's okay. Do you want to improve your image a little? Arrive early so you'll already be there when she arrives and she'll welcome you warmly and be very happy. And you'll be able to right there establish a more positive relationship and make a good impression right from the start. Another point we need to think about besides punctuality is also the matter of confirmation. So it's always a good idea to confirm the day before if that meeting is actually going to happen. Send a message, ask if everything is okay, confirm the time, the place, and how you're going to get there, if you're going to pick them up or if you'll meet there. Another point we also need to consider is planning the place where you're going to take the person you want to invite. What is your favorite place? The place you think will be appropriate for this meeting. Especially on a first date, the place you choose will also say a lot about your personality. If you choose a little bar, for example, by the beach, it's different from inviting the person to a pizzeria or to dinner at a more formal restaurant. Another important point to consider is that nowadays, establishments also have a bit of personality, a certain clientele and style of people who go to that place. So, if you choose a more relaxed bar where everyone stands around, maybe the person is more formal and would prefer to go to a bar where everyone is seated. Something, for example, with a disc jockey and not with pagode music, for instance. So it's important for you to evaluate because nowadays establishments have a visual identity, right? This is something that bar and restaurant marketing teams work on a lot. So it's not just about inviting someone to a restaurant, but the restaurant, the place you choose, will have a certain interpretation. The person will get a sense of that place and start to understand your preferences, especially on a first date. Now, if you're already in a long-term relationship with the person, then the choice of the place often happens together, like a place the couple wants to check out, for example. But in the beginning, the choice of this place will say a lot about your personality and will definitely be associated with building your personal image. There, on that first date now, I'm going to share some tips so you can shine during that meeting. Of course, I could stay here listing several aspects for you to use, like etiquette in restaurants and etiquette in bars. But I cover this topic in more detail in my etiquette and good manners training if you just found me through this video. I'm a teacher and etiquette consultant, and one of my courses is the Etiquette and Good Manners training, where I talk about everything related to etiquette in general. And there's a whole module just about restaurant etiquette, party etiquette, which you can apply in your daily life. I also talk about table manners. And if you're watching this video and want to go deeper, want to understand more about behavior and good manners in your life as a whole, enter the coupon YouTube, because for your first purchase, I'll give you a special coupon. If you're here watching this video on the channel, the link is down below. It's the first link in the description. Enter the coupon YouTube and you'll get much more over there. But of course, in this video, I'm going to highlight some topics here that I think are basic and essential for you to have a good relationship during your romantic date. The first point is to greet the person with a smile. The impact you'll create is charisma, a sense of closeness, and it will also make the other person want to get to know you. In the case of a first meeting, just by giving a smile, it will make a big difference. So greet the person with a smile and give an appropriate greeting. Greet the person the right way, okay? It's essential for you to think about that. Another basic thing is to also avoid fiddling with your phone while you're there. There's nothing more unpleasant than having a meeting with someone, whether it's a first date or a meeting with someone you're already married to, like in my case, for 12 years and the person keeps fiddling with their phone. If it's a date for two, a special moment for the couple, it's essential that you show the other person that they're important to you. If you keep using your phone, what impression will the other person get? It's that the phone is much more important, and what's happening in the digital world matters much more than you. And something we need to make the other person feel is special in our presence to show that the other person is important. And that what they say, what they tell you is interesting to you, that you care about what they say. And the cell phone, it's really a big factor that makes us inattentive. How many times do people talk to us while they're on their phones? It's totally unpleasant and it's not good for us to do that. Another important point for us to think about regarding behavior is how you're going to handle your communication. So listen to the person, be patient to hear what they say, what they share. Be patient to listen to topics of interest and topics that are relevant to that person. Let the person finish their sentences, finish their topics before starting a new conversation, and don't talk for too long. Let the other person speak as well. On a first date, when the person barely knows you, you can end up talking too much about yourself. The other person is just there watching, completely bored, so you are important. It's interesting to listen to what the other person says, yes, but we have to find a middle ground. After all, it's a dialogue. You're going to be there on the first date. You're flirting, but you're also having a conversation with the person. Another factor that I can't help but mention here is table manners. The way you behave at the table will certainly be noticed on romantic dates, especially if it's a first date. Because the person doesn't know you, so they're building an image of who you are. They're gathering information to create an interpretation, a perception. She wants to read you and get to know you better. So everything you can do to perform better will make a difference in the way you present yourself there. And that's the person. So table manners will make a big difference for a positive impression. In fact, in my Etiquette and Good Manners training, for which I left the link here with a coupon for you, there's a whole module just about table etiquette, and I talk more about this topic there as well. But pay attention to your table manners, important details. Don't spread your arms too much, don't talk with your mouth full. There's no need for you to serve yourself a lot of food and pile it on your plate. You can serve yourself a reasonable amount in case it's food you need to serve yourself. If you need more, you can serve yourself again. There's no problem if you eat twice, just be careful with the amount of food you put on your fork. Among many other topics I could mention here, okay? And remember, keep your posture, don't just sit anyway, all relaxed. No, because the person needs to notice through your nonverbal language that you're interested. So the way you sit will make a big difference. Don't lean too much over the table and don't be too laid back either, because that's not going to be interesting. Be careful with that part. I could spend a long time here talking about this subject, so if you give a lot of likes, I can come back with a part 2 to talk about etiquette in romantic dates and go into a bit more detail. But tell me down below, what's your biggest question about romantic dates? What would you like to learn? What would you like to improve in your romantic date? To do better and even have more dates? Are you also looking for love? What could you do differently? Comment here because I want to help you. Oh, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video, which really helps the Etiquette and Protocol channel reach new people. I'm counting on your support. Now we're going to talk a little about the moment after the date. It's very important for you to thank that person. So thank them when you drop them off at home, when you're saying goodbye to that person. Thank them for the opportunity to be there with them, for being able to spend that time by their side. Even if you didn't enjoy it, don't forget to thank them. It's also important for you to try to be honest with that person. So for example, if you don't have any intentions of scheduling new dates in the future, you don't have to be rude and say, wow, I never want to see you again, bye, no. But you don't need to keep saying things that might give the person false hope. Like, for example, oh, let's meet up again later. Since you're not going to call this person, since you don't want to go out with them again, just say thank you. Don't say things you can't keep. We have this habit of saying, oh, let's plan something else later. Let's meet up again. But no, if you don't want to see them, this person, you don't need to give them false hope. They don't deserve that, especially if it's right there. The first date, this is really more about first dates, and still talking about first dates, there's something interesting we should mention. Or also, if you just started going out with someone, this can also happen regarding consent. So it's essential that you have respect for the other person. If after dinner or going to a bar, you invite the person to your place and you see that they're not interested, don't insist. Don't be rude or cross boundaries. So it's important for you to know your limits, especially when it comes to affection, like kissing and hugging. If you notice that the person isn't on the same wavelength or energy as you, don't force it. Be very careful with that because it can not only harm your image but also hurt you in more serious ways. So always remember consent. Now we're going to talk about some extras, and I'm sure you're wondering, what do you mean? An etiquette channel didn't say anything about chivalry, about a man being a gentleman. Well, I usually believe that etiquette should be a two-way street, both for men and women. He does need to be a kind person, polite, so everything I mentioned here applies to both. But of course, chivalry can make all the difference for a man. Creating a personal image of someone who cares, someone who serves, someone who respects. It's even a way of showing affection to a woman and a kind of chivalry that's very interesting. It's a simple gesture, but opening the car door, pulling out the chair at a bar or restaurant, even if it's just a small bar. If the person says they don't need it, that's fine. Then it's a matter of respect and consent. But it's a gesture of attention. It's like you're showing the other person that you care, that you want to take care of them. And in a relationship, one of the main pillars is caring. It's the care that the other person has for you every day. So we need to show it. And when you want to create a positive image of yourself, these little details are acts of care that the person will notice and remember. And since nowadays many people don't practice this, when you do it, when you treat someone with chivalry, you already stand out, so that's really good. Another thing you might have wondered about, which I haven't mentioned yet, is about the bill. So, who pays the bill? Do you split the bill? Should the person who invites pay the bill? Well, according to etiquette rules, the person who invites, the one who makes the invitation, should pay the bill. But it's common nowadays to split the bill if that's something agreed upon between the couple. I recommend that even when you are invited to go somewhere, you offer to split the bill. It's very polite. The person who invited you should say and refuse, "No, thank you, you are my guest." This is something that has a powerful impact on building your image, especially because you know your responsibility since you were the one who made the invitation. You want to be there with the other person, you want them to spend some time there with you, and then you go and pay the bill. But today things are more modern, and yes, there are some situations where the bill is split. If you've been in a long-term relationship, you've likely had many romantic dates. It's normal to split bills or alternate who pays each time. When one person invites the other to go somewhere, the other person pays. So, it's natural that as the couple builds their story together, they end up figuring out ways to split things. This bill, how the bill is going to be split. But at first, I do recommend that if you made the invitation, you should pay that bill. Another essential point that I recommend you pay attention to is your personal appearance. So it's important for you to pay attention to the place that was agreed upon where the meeting will take place. And what is the dress code? What is the appropriate attire for that environment? So being in accordance with the situation that was proposed to you, that you received the invitation for, is essential for you to stand out. There are some aspects of personal image that I mentioned which are basic. Your hygiene needs to be up to date, your clothes need to be clean, and very wrinkled clothes will give the impression that you are a more careless person, that you don't take care of yourself as much. Too much perfume, especially on a first meeting, might not be very positive because the other person could even feel a bit nauseous. You don't know. If they are allergic to perfume or if they have any intolerance to strong scents, so be very careful with that. Choose a more pleasant perfume and use it in an appropriate amount. And of course, try to wear clothes that match the image you want to convey. Another factor is also the matter of conversations, which is essential for us to pause a bit to discuss this topic. After all, what are you going to talk about with someone on a first date? It's interesting for us to think that there are some topics that shouldn't be discussed with people we don't have much familiarity with. So if you're just starting to go out with someone or it's the first time, topics like sex, money, intimacy, or things that are too personal won't be interesting. Religion and politics, which also bring a certain interpretation, are very divisive. Many times they can create a somewhat unpleasant situation. They're not topics you should bring up right away. So try to bring up lighter conversations, try to bring up easier topics, and also ask questions that make sense. Also, ask questions that won't make you seem rude or like you're prying too much into the other person's life. And about these questions, I've already made a video here on the channel. 2, about questions that we shouldn't ask other people. And I think that on a romantic date, it's essential for you to be clear about these questions so you don't make a mistake and end up coming across as clueless during the date. I'm going to leave both videos here for you so you can choose which one. If you've already seen part 1, then you can watch part 2. If you haven't watched either of them, watch both videos because they'll really help you understand which topics not to talk about and what not to ask during a first date. I'll leave them here on the side and I'll stop here until the next video. See you later.